You got to up. There we go. We're live.
No countdown, no nothing. He's got this big fancy graphic when he starts with us. It's like, you know what? It is what it is. What's up, everybody? Midday with Massimo Dodani here, Partners in Sound. My partner in crime, Todd Bavona from Gotham Trinity Pro. And our third co-host, now opening up his own babysitting service, Mike Bloomy from Tech. You see, this is what he does to us. It's a conspiracy.
That's terrible. That's poor producing. That's poor directing. It's poor TD work. You don't run an animation when the host of the Midday with Moss show is speaking. How dare you, Mike Bloomfield? That's why he's looking for another job, because he's going to get fired from Techie Geek, and he's going to be running a daycare system. No, it's not a midday takeover with Mike. That's inaccurate. Massimo Dodon is here. He's exhausted. He had a long day yesterday, and he's back at it again today. Recognize, respect.
This is the thank you I get, Todd. I risked my life. I put my life on the line yesterday to make sure our first responders had the proper PPE, and I can't even get the proper respect from a. Can't even get the proper respect.
That's twice. It's just rude.
It's a conspiracy.
It's bad. It's a conspiracy against you. That's just.
I'm going to break into his house. I'm going to kiss him.
Wow.
You know why?
That's not good because you have corona.
I'm very comfortable with my sexuality.
Okay.
So, and I'm not saying, gay, straight, whatever makes no difference to me. I care less.
God bless them all.
But it'll be because I have, in Bloomy's eyes, I'm contaminated.
Yes.
I'm going to give him
he said that. He said that. Yeah. He said he's definitely contaminated. Now, boss, but I got to be fair. I was ripping on you too. I mean, you were in a lot of places yesterday, man. You were all over the place. You were 7. How many stops was it total?
25.
25 stops all day long. But how many pairs of gloves did you wear?
So I didn't wear gloves. I'm going to be very, very honest. I had my antibacterial. I have a special foam that I rub on my hands in the morning that gives me 24 hours of it's like a shield almost.
Okay.
I put that on every morning, like the foam, and it's like a foam solution. I rub it on.
Got it.
But I don't touch it. The first picture when I handed that guy the box of gloves,
right?
That was it. But after that, predominantly, I did not really hold anything. The guys that were dealing with the gloves. I was in the rig. I was self-contaminated. What a lot of people don't realize, and I don't want to have a whole corona talk today, but what a lot of people don't realize is that, if you wash your hands, you could touch your face. The thing is that, they advise against it, right? But also, Todd, if I turn around and don't wash my hands all day, and I'm sitting at my desk, self-contained all day, it's the same thing. You got to have common courtesy and just common sense. Courtesy might be the wrong word.
Correct. No, common courtesy. Yeah, that works. Yeah, but common sense would just do the right thing. Yeah, if your space is clean, like if I stayed in this room, my guest room at my house, if I stay in here all day and I go to touch my hands, my head, or I touch my face, but I clean my hands, it's fine. My surfaces in here are all clean, not contaminated. No one else came in here, but not too much COVID talk. But I'm glad you're recovered. God bless you for what you did. The Calbini Fund is freaking amazing, man. So how did you sleep last night?
I slept pretty good. I mean, I got to tell you, I am beat up. I am sore as a mother effer.
I bet. That's what I'm saying.
In and out of the fire truck all day long, 25, 30 times. It was very humbling, very cool to do. But ultimately, I'm going to say that I took proper precautions. The glove thing, for the record, if I have a germ on my hand or on my gloves, if I touch you with my hand or touch you with the gloves, it's the same thing. The gloves are to protect. People say, you got to understand gloves. Why do you wear gloves? Like, I cut my hand this morning. So now I would want to put a glove on to make
How'd you do that?
I don't know. Just all of a sudden my hand started bleeding. I must have nicked it on a doorknob or who knows. So whatever it might be, the bottom line is I want to put a glove on to make sure that doesn't get infected.
Okay.
All right. But also if I'm shaking your hand, which we don't do anymore, we do the elbow thing. Okay. It's common sense. Gloves.
Yeah, as simple as that.
The mask.
I got a question. I got a question for you about that fire truck specifically. how often is that brought out? Is that only brought out for specific occasions, or what where does that normally live?
So we have 3 fire trucks actually.
Oh, okay.
That specific fire truck is the original truck that responded to the World Trade Center on September 11th.
Right.
So that truck has a lot of meaning for me and for the 11 families of Rescue 5 that lost, their fathers, uncles, brothers.
Right.
So we are very, very, very delicate on who drives the truck.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Only myself, normally one of the members of Rescue 5 normally will drive it. We have a few guys that work for us that help out, but they get to, that rig is only really, brought out for special occasions, parades, 9/11 related stuff. Something like this, I thought it was important to use it.
It's symbolic.
It's symbolic.
It's symbolic. It's a legendary piece of history. It's
a mobile museum.
It's a mobile museum. But so my question is, so it was at 9/11. How damaged was it, and how much restoration was involved in it?
So I did not restore it. The rig was on September 12th. Some of the members of Rescue 5 got the rig up and running.
Oh, wow.
And they brought it home. I don't know if it was on September 11th at night or the next day.
Whatever.
Like that a story tells. But hold on. I actually have a picture on my desktop.
Yeah, sure. If you could pull it up, I'd love to.
Daddy.
I'm here.
You're so rude.
I waited till he was looking up something. For like 5 minutes, I was sitting there waiting. I'm like, I need the right moment to blast in.
Your daddy is rude.
What?
Rude.
Is Daddy rude?
Daddy.
No.
Rude. Yeah.
You want this?
Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's pull up this picture.
Yeah. Go ahead. Look and tell me
Picture full
what's
screen.
going on.
Yeah. Go ahead. But yeah, I asked him about the truck and how it was restored and whatnot, and how damaged it was and whatnot. So I'd love to
was
see,
listening the whole time.
Okay. Yeah, but literally, it's a mobile museum, which is fascinating.
You could you could share my screen.
Full screen.
Whoa, 2 days in a row.
No, you guys are talking to each other in the morning. I know. You guys text each other, hey, I want to wear the blue shirt.
No,
Hey,
we do this
blue
in the
shirt."
office a lot too, I noticed.
Yeah.
We only have
Literally.
5 shirts, so they
I'm
kind of
wearing
go like
pink underwear today.
one per week.
You're not wearing underwear today? So we just said?
Pink underwear.
Wow.
Oh, you're wearing pink underwear. Christina?
I can't say the same, no.
All right, can we see that? Pull up full screen here. The technical director, Emmy Award-winning performer.
Oh, he's too busy.
He's
saying
daddy.
underwear.
She's like, I brought pink underwear.
Underwear. Oh, she's adorable.
She says she's wearing her panties.
Are we sharing my screen?
Yes, I am.
Daddy. Daddy, called the light on.
Oh, wow.
Daddy's Rescue 5.
Lights on.
Mike, can you mute your mic, please? So I can tell a little bit. Sorry. So that's Rescue 5 on September 12th, 2001, in front of the firehouse. I'm just going to try to pull up a couple more photos.
Yeah.
That I'm just scanning through. And basically, they got it operational.
Okay, so to be fair, it wasn't totally damaged.
So Rescue 5.
It looks like a mess.
Well, windows blown out from the collapse.
Okay.
But that is the rig, September 12th, 2001.
That's crazy.
And, it was Rescue 5 was the only of the rescues that I believe was not totally destroyed immediately.
Okay.
And they were kind of running the city for a little bit of time. Rescue 5 was the last rescue to show up.
Wow.
And there is a famous photo that is very hard to watch, to look at. But for me, it just kind of symbolizes, the sacrifice that these guys made.
Right.
When you turn around and you say to me, I unfortunately.
Oh, good. No, it's all right. Yeah, you should have all these in one spot because it's history, man. It's history. Very important.
We got Moss. We got John here. You ready for me to bring him in?
Yeah, bring in John.
All right, I'm gonna bring John in. I'm gonna jump out for a couple of minutes as I get control of him over here.
Okay, well, good. What's up, John? How are you, pal?
Hi.
All right, guys. I'll be right back.
All right.
John? How's everything, brother?
Doing good, doing good. How's it going?
Everything is great here.
Inside. Hi, Christina.
Hey,
we
what's
doing?
going on?
Thank you for joining Midday with Moss. So John, we're going to jump right into it. So, you guys, on top of being in the middle of tax season, your profession, your field of work has now been tasked with helping all the small business owners try to figure out what's best for them. And God bless you, because the information is changing, I think, hourly. I know PPE was free, 0 APR, 4%, 0.5, 1%. I'm not even going to attempt to talk about it. So I just want to tell our viewers, John is a good friend, a very well-respected accountant on Staten Island, and someone you can trust. So John, take it away and tell us everything that's going on in the world in the accounting and how you can be a useful source.
Thanks, Mosh. You're right. It's crazy how fluid it's been, right? So I guess the federal government about a week and a half ago said, hey, by Friday we're going to give out all these free loans, you to be forgiven, and then boom, the phone calls just started happening, and things have changed every hour since then. It's been extremely fluid overall. What I've come to find is that the PPP loan, which I think everybody really is on the top of their chart, is this payroll protection program where they're willing to say, hey, look, based on your average 12-month last year, as long as you have under 500 employees, 12-month last year, we'll give you 2.5 times that if you fill out these applications. And what I guess the misnomer is, and that the federal government is giving these loans out. What's happened is that they're using banks, and banks are actually giving these loans out, and then they'll get refunded. They'll get funded by the SBA at a certain time. So it's kind of funny how we all think it's the federal government, but it's the banks. And the banks have been having a real hard time with this because things have just been changing all around. And even as of this morning, Chase, which is probably one of the largest lenders out there, is going toe-to-toe with the federal government, saying, hey, look, you're giving us a lot of liability. You're putting us in harm's way. What are you doing? How come you're doing it this way? And then there's others like Bank of America, who's already put in 15% of the total amount that's being processed. So it's been a lot of back and forth, but certainly this is hopefully this will happen and work well. I think the only person I've talked to thus far, the only banker, which was Santander for one of my larger clients, they said they're going to fund in 3 days. So I'll see what they say. I haven't heard anything else like that at all. So that's the PPP loan. And what they say is, okay, there was so much misinformation up front, but the reality is it's only 2.5 times payroll costs, which are payroll plus healthcare plus any pension funds. So you take that average for the year, multiply it by 2.5. You divide it by 12 for each month, and multiply by 2.5, and that's what you're supposed to get.
Right.
So it's kind of funny, John, because everyone is taking it, and I have gone back and forth, and I don't think we're going to take it. And it's going to go into some of the other things I spoke about. So I think the concern for me in my industry is that if I was to employ everyone, it would be great. But in 8 weeks from now, unfortunately, we don't know if social gatherings are even going to be allowed. And if there's a decrease, that loan, in my case, would be just about $300,000. I would have to pay back $12,500 a month for 24 months, and I might not go back to work too. I don't even want to joke. But let's say, for instance, we can't have any social gatherings and parties until September. Okay, June 1st comes. Okay, I put my staff back to work. But now what? I have to lay them all off again, so it's not forgivable. So I think you have to just really consult in professionals like John and whoever your accountant or lawyer or whoever you feel, and just see what works for you, right? Every business is different. The PPE works. If they would have turned around and said, we're opening the country June 1st, we're opening the country July 1st, it's too much of a risk for me. But the bottom line is that for me, it doesn't work. And
let me talk to you about that a second. So there is some thought process, because a lot of people that are in the situation, staff like you have, staff like salons, staff like warehouse workers, they're making more on unemployment than they are in working for you. So it's hard to hire them back. The thing about the PPP loan is that anything that's not forgiven, let's say they give you the 2.5 times, right? And then you take 25% of that and use that for your rent, use that for utilities, use that for a mortgage interest or any other loan you had outstanding. That you don't have to pay back. But if you're not spending it because you didn't hire anybody back because of the situation, you give the money back, whether it's in increments.
It's funny you say that, John, because that's exactly the only vehicle that I would use is take that $300,000, literally slide it into my escrow account, and almost like hey, if I need it, I'll touch it. If not, okay, it's not forgivable. Here, it's right. So it's funny you say that because that's the only way I would even consider applying. Number one. And number two, you hit on something that's really important. My industry is known to be 1099. My industry is known to be a cash industry. We are not a cash business, right?
Right.
I joke about this all the time, but we're not a cash business. 30 years ago, we may have been. All of my staff is W-2. So they're getting their, anywhere from there, depending how much they make, $300, $400, $500 a week from the state, and they're all getting the $600 from the Fed. I have guys sitting home making $1,104 if they didn't take their taxes out. That are like, why would I even, how much are they going to make? So that's a $50,000 a year job. If they're a $75,000 a year employee here, you know what, bro? I'd rather sit home for $50,000 a year until all the shit gets over.
Right.
It's tough. It's a tough situation. I think
how long does the unemployment go for, though? What's it, 13 weeks or longer than that?
I think it's now 32. They extended it to 32 weeks. It's normally 26. They extended it to 32.
So they could basically go 8 months, almost 8 months without doing anything.
Right.
Yeah, and listen, Mike, honestly speaking, as a moral American, that we just took $2 trillion, that our kids are going to probably have to pay this back. Let's be honest. If I hired my staff back, so Dave Consiglio, Mike, who is a production manager, his role and responsibility here is to prep events. So I bring Dave back to work. Dave has no events to prep. Okay, Dave, do research and development. Billy Keegan, who's one of our main DJs, his job is to DJ parties. If there's no parties to DJ, all right, Bill, go on the internet and go live every day for 2 hours DJ. Like, I'm almost stealing from the government, which, right, wrong, or indifferent, I just don't feel right about it. I think it's unethical for me to take money out of the pool that I literally, maybe I could put the girls back to work in the office, but what admin work are they doing if no one's coming in to book parties?
And Mike, I'm sorry, Mike. That's a big. I have a lot of my clients saying the same thing. But the reality is that they're paying you to take people off unemployment. So the reality is they're getting it either way, right? So you're not getting anything, right? You have to either pay it back or use it for something else. So that's what they're trying to do because the spike, 6.6 million people went on unemployment in one day, and it trails and then it just went straight up in the air, which is kind of funny. But certainly that's what they're trying to do. So I have people in that same moral dilemma, like, what am I going to do with it? I don't want the $2 trillion, but it's not about that. It's more about the unemployment side that you're replacing them.
What happens with health insurance? So if you're on unemployment, where do they go on COBRA?
Yeah.
Right.
So you're a very, very, very smart person. And we think that maybe this PPE was to lower the unemployment numbers. And I am a registered Republican, and we don't talk politics here. We all know that if you have a high unemployment rate, you don't get reelected as a president. So it could be a smoke and mirrors thing, but you're a smart guy. Why would a business owner like myself take a loan to pay their staff when they can just remain on unemployment? It's
not a loan. It's not a loan, right? So I'll tell you what it is. You're in a different world because you have a very COVID-19 unfriendly business, right? So there is nothing for you to do. But for like myself, I'll give you an example. I had to let go of 6 people, and it was very hard for me to do. But if I can retain that money, because my business, the income went down, if I can retain that, those clients, those staff, because of that, I can have them work from home and do what they have to do there, and work it that way. So it's not about, just taking the money to reduce unemployment. It's about, hey, look, there still is work, but your income might be down. Let's try to make sure these people can do something instead of being completely unavailable. That was really what the loan was.
And it goes back to the fact, like, I have, like, my one employee, so Jimmy, I'm paying him what his average hours were. I'm only using him right now 2 or 3 hours, but I didn't want him to lose health insurance. I didn't want him to go through the whole headache. So I'm retaining him, hoping that this is coming through, right? John is my accountant, so John has put through the PPP loan. But I didn't want to put Jimmy out, you know? And I basically have him on retainer. When I need him, when an emergency comes up, he goes and does what he needs to do. If he has to deliver something to Christina's house, he delivers something to Christina's house, right? That was 1 week. He was just delivering parts and stuff. But I didn't want to put him in a bad spot and make him go on Cobra. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
And I got lucky, though, because my business is kind of COVID friendly, right? I guess if we're still there, we're still necessary. So that is one good thing.
Right. Yeah. Hey, Joe has a couple questions there, Mikey Bloom.
So I get my uncle. That's my uncle Joey. He's our biggest fan, John. My aunt's been on unemployment. It was supposed to end in 5 days. He wants to know, does she automatically get extended as well?
You know, it's a good question. I don't know if they've gotten to that specific yet.
Okay.
But I think once you go to the end, they'll ask you if you're COVID-19, and then they'll probably extend it. That's my feeling, but I'm not 100% sure.
So, John, is everyone getting this $600 from the Fed?
Good question. You know, I, to be honest, so what the federal government did was they kind of blanketed to say, okay, not only is everyone regular employment going to get $600, self-employed people that work on 1099s can get it too, and open companies can get it.
W-2 employees that are collecting from the state, doesn't make a difference how much they're getting from the state. They're definitely getting the full $600 from the Fed.
Well, yeah, let me keep going. So when they did that, they put the whole system on on an overload, so that they've been overloading the system. At this point, I don't know anybody who's gotten personally the extra $600, but the bill plainly says everybody gets $600. Now, whether or not they'll get the full $600, I'm unclear about, because I haven't really done the research. I've heard of anybody, but I haven't heard anything different than that.
Half of my staff got it, half of them did it.
Joey said that his wife got the $600, but half was taken out.
Not half. You said tax was taken out.
He came home with $540. If some of my guys took the $6, some of the guys took the $540.
Right, 10%.
Okay. Right.
I mean, it's you guys have your work cut out as financial people. Your industry is, everybody wants an answer.
Right.
It's crazy, and it sucks. It sucks not being able to give people answers. I mean, John, you're a straight arrow type of guy, right? When someone says, John, am I going to get the 600? And they trust you. You are like, I don't know. It makes you look stupid, and it's not even your fault.
Right.
Big.
Yeah, you know what? And I try to make it in the sense that, hey, look, this is so fluid, and a lot of the detail hasn't been thought out yet. Right? So it's not like every detail of this whole thing has been filled out or understood. And just to give you an example, on the 6th, the payroll for how the PPP is calculated was new stuff came out and had to be recalculated again. So nothing has been what it's been from the original. Right. And I think that overall, I can't believe it came out on Friday. I can't, because on Thursday night Friday night at midnight, the form came out, and at 8 p.m. the final regs came out. So it makes it very difficult for everything, but it's more about the politics of it. Everybody from de Blasio to Trump to everybody else was saying, hey, look, you're getting this help and it's coming out. So I don't think they could have stopped it, but people are just trying to get what they can. I don't even know people who can get unemployment. It's been so bad. You can't get online.
Can't get on the phone.
I'm happy that people are getting money. If you got the max from the state, you should get the max from the Fed. If you get 270, 260 from the state, you should get 300 from the Fed. The scale should be the same.
I agree, but I don't think that's, from a transition standpoint, I don't know how easy that is for them to watch, right? Because it's two different systems.
Hey, John, how complicated are these applications for these businesses?
So right now there's two applications that are currently out. The PPP, which looks like a kind of simple form, but you need to know the detail behind it. And what that's doing is the banks are requesting additional information to each bank is different. So Signature Bank, for instance, is asking for profit and losses, where TD Bank hasn't asked for that. HSBC asked for something else. Someone else wants social security numbers. And I said to the person at Santander, I said, why are you asking for the same information that you have? They have to have the articles of incorporation, everything else to open up an account. Why are you asking for it again? And the answer was I was really impressed by the guy. He goes, listen, we're trying to streamline this and make it as fast as possible. They're two different systems. So we're asking for this so we don't have to go up and dig up what we have in our systems now. We just want you to have it, and then we can just go through. So it was kind of really impressive. But anyway, to that point, not super hard to fill out, but certainly it's changing. So how do you know what to do? Are you doing rent? Are you not including 1099s? There's all these different questions. And luckily, my firm and I, we've been up on this by the minute as things happen. And I've read every bill, and I understand how it works. So we're kind of like, this is what it is. On the other side, there's two other loans. The EIDL loan, right? That's the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. That loan, everybody fills out this verification. It's kind of short, and they ask do you want this $10,000? Everybody's like, yes. And
that's a grant, correct? That's basically everyone's getting that.
I don't know if everyone's getting it. They're saying that, but that hasn't happened yet either. So I've been filling those out for over a week. No one's gotten any money yet, but that leads into the bigger loan, which is an SBA loan, which is at 3.75 or 4%. I forget right now off the top of my head, but certainly, and that's over 30 years. But there you have to demonstrate what your loss is. And once you demonstrate it, then it's based on that loss. And then that's like a regular SBA loan. I don't know if you ever filled those out before, but it's not a one-pager. It's probably about 15 different requests of information from you, but besides your right lung, your left foot, and
Yeah. Yeah, it just sounds like it's a daunting task for a lot of these businesses to handle, right? I mean, that's why obviously our advice is to go to a guy like you, John, or to go to their personal accountant to try and navigate all this and understand which loan is which and have them fill it out for them, because it seems so in depth. But yeah, you're right. They keep changing. So this week they could come out with something else, and that makes your job even harder, right? Because if they change it now, you have to adjust what you've already submitted, right?
This is kind of like anything else. I enjoy what I do. So for us, it's not as much hard. It's just that we have to be able to explain it to everybody.
Right.
And the whole thing is just like as an IT provider, I tell my clients, and even prospects, you need to find someone you trust and take their advice. This is the same way. Whoever's your accountant, whoever you need to listen to them and trust them. I see a lot of people that just went and tried to do this on their own. Because, the paperwork's easy. Well, the paperwork's easy now, but that doesn't mean in 8 weeks from now when you're trying to get forgiveness and you forget to dot the I across the T, now you're going to be wishing you went with your accountant to do it.
Right. And then so after the PP loan is given out, in 6 to 8 weeks, there'll be a certification of how you spent that money. That's a whole different scenario too. Wow. So those are things that we're handling for people as well. So it's not just a 1-2. I mean, look, if you want the money, anybody can do anything themselves, right? I could DJ myself. I can do my own video. I can do my own IT. But there's a reason why we do what we do, because we are experts at it. It makes life a lot easier at the end of the day. And
for sure,
especially for the DJ side of it, I'll have a much better time with Moss DJing it than I have.
Moss, are you going to be going live and DJing on Sunday, like you said? Have you been practicing?
Christ will rise, and Little Moss will come back.
Somebody quote that. Someone put that up somewhere. Jesus.
But from what I've read, and and John, correct me if I'm wrong, I've seen that they say every business there is no reason not to go fill out the EIDL paperwork, right? There's no reason not to.
There's no reason for the grant side of it, the $10,000, the first part of it. No,
right.
No reason at all. But if you do get the PPP, then you can't do the second part of the the $10,000 grant.
Right. So, like that's something. And then the PPP, of course, that's a discussion with the accountant. But again, if you have staff and you're keeping them on, it's probably at this point worth it. It's definitely worth the conversation. No one should be worrying that, it's the government. They're trying to screw me. Like, I don't think they're out there trying to screw you. I think they've put this together to try to keep businesses afloat, keep unemployment rates down, keep people on the books of record. So they're doing their best.
Mhm.
I agree.
It was rushed, but it's a disaster, right? This wasn't something they had months to plan. This is something they rushed out because of the current state of affairs and where we're at.
And it's not even rushed out in a way that, if you think about it, it's rushed out in the middle of this pandemic where nobody's at work. So everybody's home. You have this separation. Nothing is smooth. So, the bankers, I've talked to many of them, they're really having a really tough time with it because they're all trying to do what they can. Everybody's like, where's my money? And it's just the way it is, I guess.
So one thing you touched on, we had our executive club meeting today. And one thing you touched on, though, is that it seems like, it came out Friday, and then they said how many loans they processed, but so many banks weren't even taking applications yet. So who's getting the application? Who's getting approved already? Like, do you have to know somebody?
Good question. So the application came out Friday night at midnight, literally midnight with the new form. They had an older form, but a new form came out midnight. And by 4:00, the U.S. Treasury Secretary tweeted out that they gave out at that point, 4:00, which is basically 7 hours from when they opened up, $1,800,000,000 in funds. And not one bank, any of my clients, has even taken the application. So I'm like, wow, how are they doing this? And then when we talked to Regina from Northfield, she said something that really rang true to me, and I get it now. It's that each bank is doing these loans. So if these banks want to push that through and have limited information and everything else, that's their risk tolerance. That's what they're looking to do. So I think that was part of it, and there must be some other stuff. But at the end of the day, that's what it is. But it's an awful lot of money. So the anxiety just started in me because I like that. I really enjoy helping people and wanting to get people what they need to make sure that they're all right. To see that, just the anxiety went like through the roof.
So you could be honest on Master's show. Was I annoying you on Friday?
No, you were Mike. What you would the 85 emails and 35 texts and were more than normal for everybody in that situation. We get it. We understand it.
Like, I was level-headed for the longest time, and then all of a sudden I start hearing people talk about how they're going to run out of funds, and this bank ain't taking, and they're only taking if you have a credit card and the checking account. So now I'm like, oh my God, they're going to give this money away, and it's just going to end.
Yeah.
And then that's when that's when I was panic striking.
Yeah.
So it's a whole other stress. You have the stress of COVID, and then you're stressing your job, you're stressing your family, and then they throw this financial stress on you, which is worse than the financial stress you're already dealing with. It doesn't make for a very, very nice.
No. Yeah. So you get to come on Monster Show. What do you think? He takes calls in the middle of it. He lays down.
I'm the only employee left here, number one.
Someone's got to take a nap, right?
That's it.
Receptionist, secretary. I don't even know what else.
Janitor, have you cleaned the bathroom yet?
I did wipe down the bathroom, yes.
Wiped it down. Good.
So,
Good. At least he did that.
It is what it is. So every once in a while, the phone rings. It could actually be a sale.
You never know. Yeah.
They might be having a COVID barbecue.
Next year, they're doing a wedding.
John, what's up, Tom?
Dominic, how are you, pal?
So, John, you're now home, right? You're not working at the office. You guys went fully remote, right?
Correct.
So what are you doing for food? Are you ordering in? Are you cooking?
Yeah, luckily my wife's home, and she's been happy homemaker. So I've been very lucky in that way.
Great.
We lost Moss again.
That's right. Important call. Setting up a wedding for September 2021.
So my Uncle Joey actually came, and I told him in the morning show he works at Home Depot, and they don't give him masks. So I was like, I have masks, I have gloves, come pick them up. So I left him gloves and masks to take, and he brought me country donuts, like a dozen donuts. The plastic bag I won't even touch. I grabbed the box. I wiped the thing with disinfectant wipes. I brought it inside and I microwaved every donut for 20 seconds to kill any germs.
Fair.
Ew.
It's so bad. Nicole at first, Nicole saw the box of donuts. She's like, I ain't eating that. Get that out of the house. I'm like, no, I'll nuke it. We'll kill the
You
coronavirus.
guys are not gonna die from eating a coronavirus donut. Like, come on.
Now I'm assuming that it has to be passed in the house. What? Oh, yes. Oh, I think he's talking about the. Do you know anything about that one? The one that Chuck Schumer put through for the $25,000?
Oh, that's a great question.
It just keeps changing constantly. Yes, it has to be passed in the house. But again, every single person, like New York City had a grant. So this grant was great. Under 5 people, you can get a grant if you were already affected 25% from last year to this year.
Yep.
Most people aren't affected outside of restaurants, which are usually more than 5 employees. Haven't been affected yet. They're going to be affected significantly by this. So the grant was kind of, though the heart is in the right place, I think the overall, I don't know how many people filled it out or what happened with it, but certainly it wasn't that.
And why'd they do such a low employee count? Because it was 4 employees or less, I believe.
It was 5 employees or less, right?
Why so low?
Because there's other avenues available to people with larger staffs.
Okay.
And they're looking for this mom and pop type place, and they don't realize that we're all kind of mom and pop. At this point in this day and age, under 20 is mom and pop,
right?
Yeah.
So it's not a big corporation. I'm certainly not a big corporation. I'm a big guy, but not a big corporation.
Now, Mike, does that fall into me with Gotham with 3 owners?
Well, talk to your account, but yeah, if there's 3, right? If there's 3 of them and you could show a loss, you could probably get that. That was a grant as well, correct?
Well, that ended Friday 5 o'clock. Like, so, right. But again, there's no time. Who's looking at this? You have to figure out every grant that's out there. I think one of my clients went for it, but it was a difficult grant to do and you needed a ton of information. You needed financial statements. I'm like, who would under 5 employees is going to have a full set of financials that quick? I mean, just doesn't happen.
The other grant I signed up with, and I didn't tell John yet, but don't tell him, is Verizon was giving a $10,000. You could sign up, and they're going to award grants up to a certain amount of millions of dollars. So I saw it, and I was like, it was a quick survey, so I just did it because it's just like a small business grant they're offering. It's not good. You should look in that one. Just they say what they're going to do though is they're going to try to target, I guess, some minority-owned businesses and woman-owned businesses, but they encouraged everyone to sign up, and they're going to award it.
Okay.
So it looks like everybody in this cast is out.
Right. Yeah. Well, and the other thing they had is like Facebook, I think, was offering grants as well. But the way they're going to do grants isn't actual money. They were going to give you basically credits for advertising.
Right.
And I think Google was saying they were going to open up the same thing as well, that they were basically give grants for basically free advertising to push marketing. But like when they do that, they're just going to flood the advertising anyway. So how great will it be to have advertising at that point if everyone's getting free advertising? It's just like Google or Facebook.
Right.
But
we'll see. It's something.
It's something, right? It's not their place to recover everybody.
Right. I mean, that's a unique way to do it. I mean, it's like all the small businesses. How do they adapt? Well, give gift cards away to keep the business going and whatnot. So it's something from the big old Facebook giant. No more Clorox wipes. My wipe down the bathroom with a handful of salami he bought from Montalbano's this morning. Cleaner and air freshener all in one. Good call, Dom. Yeah, just use good old salami that he probably touched with his hands straight from
the good thing about the Google ads and the Facebook ads is like it's not really wasted money in marketing in the aspect that like, oh, now it's going to be overblown and everyone's going to be marketing, because the way that these ads are seen, it's not umbrella marketing. It's not like it's one business is now taking the place of another. If you're in there targeting for that business's ads, you'll see them. And so maybe it's better because now there's going to be more to actually see in your market instead of just being shown ads because there's nothing else left to be seen because there's not that many in your targeting, Right. It could be beneficial to a lot of people.
Yeah, because there's a lot of targeted marketing, a lot of targeted things with Google ads, with Facebook ads, and
that's all that stuff. Targeted marketing. It has nothing
that's
to do
huge.
with anything else. It's all targeted.
Yeah, so that could be beneficial. Yeah, no, definitely. I'm with you. Hear you.
Yeah, so I'm back. Sorry, I'm like Moss. He's gone. Where did he go?
Yeah, he
His
did
show,
that.
he's gone. It's another Mike. It's another Mike Midday with Mike takeover.
And the only reason I see they call him back, I answer the phone is because you don't know if this is the bank calling to be like, "Hey, you're approved. Here's your money." Hey,
Right. Yeah, there you go. That'd be nice. That'd be great. But
So
yeah.
this money that apparently we're supposed to be getting sent, the $1,200 or something like that, how is that working? Because I don't really even know anything about that. Is that just if you are unemployed right now, you're getting a stimulus check? I thought everyone was getting one.
Two different things. Certainly, the $1,200 that you are referring to is the stimulus package for tax filers. People who file tax returns who have earned as a single person under 75, married couple under 150.
Yeah.
Automatically get that $1,200, and then depending kids under 17 will get $500 each. So that's separate and apart from this.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, and by the way, people think, oh, I'll get this money. My understanding is that if you do qualify for it, you'll get it. If you don't, if let's say you do and you don't get it because you didn't file timely for 19, because people are waiting, then on 2020 they'll true that up. So if you were supposed to get it and you got it, you're good. If you didn't get it, they'll add it to your refund. If you weren't supposed to get it, they'll pull it back.
Got you. One thing that I was actually talking to my friend and he was concerned about is he thinks he's eligible for the $1,200 check, but he says that it's supposed to get direct deposited into the account that you had done your taxes with for 2018. So he says he has a different bank account from then. So how does that get fixed,
Good question. So, even though at the end of each appointment I ask people, make sure confirm their bank account. Sometimes things happen, things change. There's a wrong number. And what happens when the IRS goes to deposit it in, it gets bounced back. And then what the IRS does is they try again. And if it doesn't work, they send a check out. And it takes longer to get that money, but certainly you get that money.
Gotcha.
Huh. Yeah, it's just a lot to it. And I know. Are you aware of any other legislation? Have you seen? I haven't read anything. I haven't seen anything. Could there be any more steps taken, or would you think there'd be anything else in the pipeline that Congress is coming up with, or these legislations are thinking that could help? Or have we seen, okay, this is it. Here come your due dates. Here come the flood of applications. Or do you think there could be something else? What do you think, John?
It's a great question. Someone asked me that earlier on today. Like, so what do you think? Could the July 15th be pushed out? I'm like, listen, I don't know what to think. I mean, there's nothing that's the same as it was 3 months ago. And if someone told me 3 months ago there's going to be a pandemic, everything's going to push, I'm like, you're already in mind, go to a psychiatric center. So at this point, I feel like anything could happen. My gut tells me, though, if this thing subsides the way they're thinking it's going to subside, they'll probably pretty much stick to the dates unless there's something else. Look, New Jersey took until about a week ago to say, hey, we'll extend you to 4/15. The July 15th from 4/15. So anything could happen. So I don't put it past anything, but my gut tells me if this subsides rather quickly, then it will go back to what they have currently.
So you feel as though the legislation that's been passed, the loans that have been offered, the grants that have been offered up to this point should be sufficient. I guess.
Oh, from a dollar amount standpoint, no. They're be adding to that, but I don't think they're going to change. I don't think they're going to change that methodology, only because it took too much to get to this point now. Right. So if there's something else, I really don't think that's going to change. But again, I could be wrong. Right.
Yeah, there's someone else could come up with some other calculation or some other way to go about this. When are you going to see some kind of impact of this? What are people going to report? Or I guess we'll just start reading about the money dropping into people's accounts, dropping into business accounts and whatnot. How long do you think it'll take before we start seeing, okay, things are starting to right a little bit? People are starting to get to see that money. Are we 2 weeks away, 3 weeks away from seeing an impact?
So seeing an impact and getting the money are probably two different things, right? So getting the money, as I said earlier, one of my clients, Santander, they're saying 3 days out for their particular situation. But other banks are saying you're not going to get anything to the end of April. So the banks don't even know when things are going to fund based upon the loans they have. And I think there's prioritizing in the banks, right? So the banks, the bigger clients, they're going to take care of. They'll push theirs through first, whereas if you have, $10,000 on an account, they're like, no, thank you. 5 million in account, we'll work with you. So I think that these are the rules that are in place at this point.
On the IT forum, someone posted like a breakdown of what the banks are getting based on the loan, and it looked like they were getting a higher percentage the bigger the loan was. Is that any truth to that? Did you see that?
I did not see that. My understanding was that they receive a certain percentage of the loan. Period. It wasn't
right.
Okay.
So the reality is, though, the bigger the loan, the more they get.
Right. The more money. And
right.
I'll find it. I'll send it to you because it was interesting. But yeah, it was like if they were getting like 4% if it was over like a $10 million loan. If it was under, they were getting 3%.
Over a $10 million loan because that's the max.
Oh, okay. I'll let me see if I can find, because it was weird though, because the way it showed it was like, why you would think you get a bigger percentage on the lower number, not the opposite, and that was how. But again, it could all be fake, right? That's the beauty of the internet.
Yeah, God.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a lot to go. The fake news and whatnot. Yes.
Sorry, guys.
Who do you trust? No, it's okay. Welcome back, Moss. Everything good?
One of my friends' mothers passed away from the corona.
Wow, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Older woman, but just still sucks.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think. I've been thinking about that lately, like how many people are passing away, and a month ago would have never thought like they're going to be the ones that are being taken from this crazy virus. Like, you
100%.
go spend your whole life like risking doing crazy things, and this is what takes you out. It's like it's mind-blowing. This is what we're dealing with,
So that's the opposite of.
It's the opposite. And this is from the Treasury Department. So whoever posted it the opposite way. But so that's how I would expect it to be.
Right.
Yeah.
2 million would be the loan.
See, you can't believe everything you read on the internet.
Exactly.
Meme.
Yeah, good.
Right.
All right. Well, listen, guys, I have to run. Unfortunately, my phone's ringing off the hook over here, and got to get back to.
So if people need to get in touch with you, John, your website's the best way.
Yeah, my website's the best way. GroupJT.com. That's GroupJT.com. Anytime you can go right through there. Reach out to us. We'll be able to help you. Mike, Moss, Todd.
Thank you. We'll see you later.
Take care, man.
Bye.
Take care.
Awesome. Very valuable stuff. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It's good. When it comes to the PPP and the EIDL, look, I'm stressing about it. But like once I got it, and I think it was last Thursday, and I spoke to John, and he goes, "I'm taking care of it. I don't have to worry about it." Right. The only thing I stressed about was finding a bank to take the application.
Right.
Empire State Bank is taking applications and at least getting you on list. And they were an SBA approved lender to begin with. Then now Northfield there's a ton of them, but that was the hardest thing was trying to find the right bank to go with who's actually accepting applications, because a lot of the bigger banks, the Chase, they put you on a waiting list. The Bank of America, they put you on a waiting list.
Right. Yeah. Hey, Uncle Joe thinks we should have our own Sirius satellite radio show.
I agree.
Joe, he comments a lot.
I got contacts over there. We can make it happen. If you guys want to be on Sirius, we can get on Sirius. We'll be
out with Howard Stern for a day. I'd do that. He'd probably rip us apart.
Oh my God, he'd probably laugh at us.
Is Joey now like in our whack pack?
Joe, he's the most consistent listener. What do you call us? Watcher? And you call I don't call this a podcast. I've seen people call this, I want to come on your podcast.
This is a live stream.
This is a live stream where Moss disappears.
Yeah, I know.
Christina falls asleep occasionally.
Occasionally she chimes in. Occasionally we hear her microphone go.
And then Moss is in the private chat going, whose mic is that? Whose mic is that?
Yeah, well, I don't know if that might have been the background. That's John's house. It could have been his family. I was going to blame Christina, but I didn't want her to yell at me again.
I wasn't even doing anything. How could it be my mic?
So
I don't know what's going on in your house.
The mother was older, you said?
Yeah, she was older. It's something we all know too, but I don't want to put it out there on Facebook. So
you don't want to put it on Facebook.
Yeah, it's all good.
Absolutely terrible. So like we had spoken about my employees' mothers passed away from it. The more it's starting to hit home, and they put the number out today that really strikes home. Right,
791. Yeah,
and Moss would probably go right off the top of his head. I think 9/11 was like under 3,000, right?
Yeah, a little bit under 3,000. We surpassed 9/11.
And that was that next New York State, right? And I think Jersey had already passed their 9/11 numbers a few days ago.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, it's we know people are going to pass. It sucks. We just got to stay strong for our friends and family. And listen, these nurses and doctors in the hospital. I mean, when you're dying, and not that any of us know what it is to die, but when you're there for those final moments, you're normally surrounded by your loved ones. If you're on hospice or something, people are just passing on by themselves, and no one's there. It sucks.
Right. Yeah. That's the scariest part, right?
That's the thing.
You go, you're alone, and I've read great stories of nurses who are staying with people, but still, they say their face is covered, they have goggles, so it's still, as much as they're trying to be touched, and imagine being in a bed and all you see is like everyone's covered up, and like it's got to be tough.
It's just
and
chaos.
The worst part is you can't even properly say goodbye. You can't have a wake, you can't have the funeral, and then I know from different funeral homes and from cemeteries, they say it's insane the amount of death they're dealing with.
Yeah, that's bad. Yeah, the morgues, the makeshift morgues that they're building, the trucks that are coming in, and then the backlog, and you can't have the funeral, can't have the mass, you can't go to, you don't have that time to grieve. Again, we've talked about everyone grieves differently, right? So you're not even allowed that spatial. No one could do anything, and even we're helpless, we're powerless. I can't even get flowers and send them to my buddy's house.
Right.
Like
Well, we just had an email with someone that we were in talks with. One of our potential clients is a cemetery, and their numbers for burials and stuff are like scary to even read in an email. I had reached out a little bit earlier just to say like we hope all is well, and he was like, we're overwhelmed with burials
they're on half staff and doing double work.
Exactly. Yeah.
And because they're basically 1 week off, 1 week on, they gotta to make sure people don't get sick. It's terrible, but the light at the end of the tunnel, right? Cuomo was up there again, 4th day in a row. Number of cases, number of hospitalizations are starting to just get down and peak out lower out there. Obviously, deaths are a few days behind. We spoke about that earlier, right? So the deaths are 5-6 days behind. So if we hit the peak, the number of deaths will start peaking and dropping in probably a couple, another 3-4 days.
Right. And then talking about the front line, I know Uncle Joe just said Joe and Teresa, niece Amber, at the front lines. He works part-time at a funeral home. Wow. Essential workers like nurses and grocery store employees would get a $25,000 raise for working through the pandemic under a new plan from Senate Democrats. We talked about that. I think Moss said that, or I forgot who said that.
We've been talking about that. And look, that one, nowhere near, it's not passed. I only know if it's I know it's being presented.
Yeah, it's been
very early in a bill.
Correct. It's just the pandemic premium pay increase, COVID-19 Heroes Fund, I guess is what they were kind of calling it, for healthcare and home care workers and first responders to attract and secure a workforce to fight the coronavirus. Yeah, so it's definitely under discussion, but things that you just keep getting alerts about. This is what John's dealing with. Is okay. This could be out there once it's passed. How does that work? How does that all play out? It's a complicated thing, and it's tough for even lawmakers and people who write law. Like, can you imagine if you were working to write all these bills and pass all this legislation?
Yeah.
It's got to be a lot, right? Like, it's got to be.
But look, again, it's their job and it's what they love to do, right? You don't get into politics unless you love it, and that almost becomes your career. They get paid for it.
Pretty much.
It's a full-time job.
Exactly. Hey, just switch your gears. I got a comment on Christina's tats somewhere. Chris has nice tattoos. I just told my son that.
Thank you for watching. Stop and Store.
Stop and Store. How you doing?
They're essential as well. They're essential for essential businesses. So you can't go there to just move out your house and take down Christmas decorations, but their staff has to be at risk to be open for essential businesses who utilize their place for inventory.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah, we actually had stuff in storage for a while too.
I think Joey
took it out.
Moss, once you get back, opening everything, we might need to get Joey to be an MC. He likes to talk. He might be a good MC.
You think?
Hey, there you go.
Well, you hear
that?
We know he likes to type.
That's true. Yeah, they might translate. Maybe. You're welcome, Chris. You're a
Chris
nice
is a
lady.
nice lady.
Hey,
He said
guys,
earlier
we should end it on this note. We had John here. Very informative show.
It's good.
We want to keep it to obviously an hour. We're coming
Love
up
it.
just on an hour. And it's important. It's important that we continue to,
Yep.
state of what we don't want to go on and on and on. I also, I just want to say one thing as I conclude my first episode after our major distribution on Staten Island. A lot of people are thanking me. There was no reason to thank me. You got to thank people like Mike that donated to the fund. I'm just a guy that connects dots. I'm just a guy that does what he has to do when it's necessary to do it. But it couldn't be done without the power of all of our donors. People that maybe bought a $20 raffle ticket, somebody that donated a sponsorship, somebody that came to an event, somebody that just made a $1 donation online. That doesn't happen. Our organization is fueled based on the backs of small business owners and regular people like me and you. And that's what enables us to give back to our community. We don't get millions of dollars from the government, and we have all this regulatory grant process because we are terrible at that. We do it because it has to be done, and we do it because our community supports us. So a lot of people thanking me, and I appreciate the humble words, but I was just a guy that connected dots. Couldn't be done without the help of all of you.
Hero. One thing that Moss maybe that obviously you might have already thought of this, but maybe with the Cole Bingy trying to, the people didn't get to have the funerals and do all this. Maybe after all this is done, putting together a COVID memorial on Staten Island and throwing a big memorial for everybody.
100%. It's a great idea.
There's going to be a lot of stuff that goes on post this pandemic. I'm going to tell you one thing. Partners in Sound, Pro Show, Party Jam, we will be hosting and throwing the largest thank you party to all of our first responders. Obviously on the grounds of probably Mount Loretto, Staten Island Mall, maybe South Beach, but we will be producing a major benefit event to thank everybody. It'll be part memorial, part thank you, and part let's get the hell out of the house.
Love it. Celebration of life, my friend. Celebration of life.
And Gotham will be broadcasting it live.
Yes, Gotham
will be there.
Broadcasting live. So I think it's time to sign off. Don't forget to check us out tonight at 10 o'clock. Gotham After Dark, ran by Todd and his better half, Graz. You like that, right?
I like that.
Frank said we could go on and on. That's it. Let's just go for another 2 hours.
Nope, I'm good.
I'd actually like to have Mike do human bowling, and we could all throw bowling balls at Bloomy.
At me? Why are you throwing them at me? You could throw me down the lanes. That's fine.
You can throw me down the lanes.
Off.
Christina could throw me down the lanes.
Yeah.
Right after you choke slam me into a table, you just choke slam me down the bowling line.
It's starting to become a fetish.
You gotta get me a Sound logo reveal video so I could run yours instead of mine at the end.
Yeah, thank God, please.
Whatever you need, we'll take care of it.
All right.
Signing off. Time to get back to work here.
Remember, Gotham After Dark tonight, 10 p.m.
Look how young Todd looks.